So last year BMW tried to build a Harley, and now Harley is trying to build a BMW. Now, I've been critical of the Pan America's look in the past, calling it ugly and criticizing its road glide front end.
Ah! No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
And I'm not afraid to admit that in the comment section of that video, I got a lot of pushback. Many people like the unique styling of the bike. The Road Glide is a very popular motorcycle and many Harley riders love it. Other commenters pointed out that in the land of adventure motorcycles, looks aren't really that important, that form follows function, and that many of the Pan America's competitors themselves look like the wrong end of a baboon. And of course, we all know that looks are subjective. One man's Marilyn Monroe is another man's best friend. Many people don't like the looks of the Yamaha Tenere 700 that I ride, despite the fact that to me it's the best looking adventure bike ever built. Touché. But after numerous promises and delays, it seems that the Pan America will finally make its splash on February 22nd, assuming of course that the United States still exists by then, and all will be revealed. Or at least the specs will be revealed. So in this video, let's talk about the chances that this bike will be successful, especially given that it's entering a very competitive segment of motorcycling which is dominated by an almost 800-pound gorilla, what qualities and features it will need to have to be successful, and whether it can turn around Harley Davidson's fortunes. A quick aside before we get back to the Pan America. We have merch. My wife Brooke, who rides motorcycles herself, has designed several lines of biker merch, some channel specific, others adorned with general motorcycling art. We have tees, hoodies, and tanks in different styles and colors. We have women's and men's styles and more on the way. I'll put a link in the description of the video where you can get yours, if you so desire. So if you're in the market for some swanky biker gear, feel free to check it out. Now getting back to the Pan America. What we have here is a bike that has achieved mythical status. It's been teased and promised and delayed and promised again, and now is finally almost here. It's a motorcycle that is touted as the savior of the iconic brand, as a joke that's arriving 2 decades too late, as the first example of Harley Davidson modernizing, and simultaneously as a flop waiting to happen which will never win over the Harley faithful. So let's separate the wheat from the chaff and attempt to see past the hoopla. Behind the looks of the Pan America and the opinions about its impact is an actual motorcycle. And while we won't know the full specs until February 22nd, it actually looks like a good bike. I've seen one in person and it appears to be roughly in line with the competition. The bike we've seen so far has 19 and 17-inch spoke wheels, Brembo brakes, a good sized fairing, engine guards, bash plate, a pretty sweet looking subframe, and will presumably come with a pretty good electronics package, probably a Bosch, if it wants to compete with other premium bikes in its class. In addition, the Pan America uses its thoroughly modern engine as a stress member, which is a measure generally used to keep the weight of a motorcycle low. Now, a lot of commenters on my old Pan America video were expecting the bike to weigh north of 600 pounds simply because it's a Harley, and Harleys tend to be heavy. However, I disagree with that assessment. Cruisers tend to be heavy, whether they're Harleys or not, and Harley Davidson, whatever anyone thinks, is a huge and iconic company with able engineers. This is the company that produced the world's best electric motorcycle. They're certainly capable of building a good adventure bike. I've seen this bike in person and it certainly didn't look like it weighed 600 pounds. Using the engine as a stressed member and opting for chain final drive are indicators that Harley engineers worked hard to keep the weight reasonable. In addition, the 145 horsepower and 90 pound-feet of torque that Harley is claiming are competitive in a segment of 175 horsepower Ducatis and 160 horsepower KTMs. I see no reason why Harley can't produce a 145 horsepower 1250cc engine. This will no doubt be the most powerful production Harley ever built and will probably be a joy to ride, as are other big adventure bikes produced today. Horsepower figures are not as important in this segment as they are to sport bike or naked bike riders. The segment leader, the BMW R1250 GS, produces 134 horsepower, so Harley's 145 is more than enough. It won't outrun the Ducati and the KTM, but ADV riders don't care about that too much, and it should still be a very fast bike. However, all is not sunshine and rainbows for this motorcycle because there are several hurdles it will face. One is going to be the Harley name. Just like BMW will out out-cruiser Harley, Harley is not likely to out-adventure BMW, and like it or not, we're tribal creatures and our preconceptions matter. Not many softail riders are trading their bikes in on R18s, and I seriously doubt whether any R1250 GS riders will run out and buy a Pan America. Another hurdle for Harley is the fact that this new bike is not likely to stand out in any way among its competitors. The Ducati Multistrada V4 is the most powerful at 175 horsepower. The KTM 1290 Super Adventure and the Multistrada are the lightest at 529 pounds. Either the R version of the KTM or the Big GS are the best off-road, and the Pan America is not likely to top any of those bikes in any of these metrics. Additionally, the most popular adventure bike segment right now is the middleweight segment, so Harley is entering the big ADV bike world at a time when its customer base is shrinking, a world that has a very clearly defined leader, the Big GS. The main reasons why the BMW rules this segment are its low center of gravity and ease of maintenance. Yes, it's heavy, but its flat twin keeps its center of gravity so low that it feels much lighter when it's actually ridden. Also, the shaft drive, despite adding weight and sapping some efficiency, is tremendously convenient. I've owned two shaft-driven bikes before, and the convenience of not having a chain to clean, especially on a longer tour, cannot be overstated. In contrast, the Pan America is chain-driven and those cylinder heads stick up pretty high. Even if Harley gets the weight under the base GS's 550 pounds, the Pan America is likely to feel heavier. So what does Harley need to do in order to make this bike attractive to non-Harley adventure riders? Simple. Make it light, reliable, comfortable, off-road capable, and priced under or at least around the regular GS. Not the GS Adventure, the regular GS. And if those ADV riders don't buy the bike, Harley better hope that its own customers do. Maybe some bagger riders may want something quicker and better handling. However, if a rider who is going to buy a Harley opts for a Pan America over a Road Glide, Harley just gains one sale at the expense of another. Additionally, bagger riders may be shocked by the height of adventure bike seats. An 800-pound bagger can actually feel a lot less top-heavy than a 550-pound adventure motorcycle, especially if the ADV bike rider is older, as most Harley riders tend to be, and is tiptoeing because of the height of the seat. So, will this bike save Harley? I have a feeling not, at least not by itself. The Pan America will sell to early adopters and Harley purists, but it is unlikely to sell in high numbers in an already well-established segment against established competitors. The fact is that a large percentage of adventure riders don't like the Harley name and would never buy a hog. I know this because they pretty much tell me that in the comment sections of every video in which I mention the Pan America. Can anything change their minds? The Pan America being really good may. Maybe if the bike wins an adventure bike comparison in respected publication or at least holds its own, it could win some respect among riders who care about performance, features, and durability instead of what logo adorns the tank. I hope that the Pan America does well, but it will take a whole fleet of modern and competitive products to turn around the fortunes of the motor company. What do you think of this motorcycle and its chances to at least stem the bleeding in Milwaukee? Would you buy it? I'm an ADV rider and a Harley rider, but I wouldn't. I'm of the opinion that motorcycles meant to go off-road absolutely should not weigh over 500 pounds, period. So I wouldn't buy any of the big ADV bikes. However, I'm curious what other ADV riders think. Also, if you're currently on a Harley and this bike has convinced you to give ADV riding a try, I'd love to hear about it. Either way, please drop your comments below. We'll get the big reveal in a month and a half. Until then, I'm sure we'll argue about it endlessly. I for one hope it does well, but I still think that front end is ugly as a... If you're interested in any of the gear that Brooke and I wear or use, or the camera equipment we use to film this channel, the links are below. Everything listed there was bought with our own money and we are not sponsored by any company. However, the links below are affiliate links and the channel is paid a small amount for referring you to shop at no additional cost to you. We do not recommend any products that we are not satisfied with ourselves, but we do strongly urge you to do your research and select the correct size for items like helmets and clothing. As always, thanks for watching, your support is greatly appreciated. Please hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. And whatever you ride, enjoy it. Wave at other bikers no matter what they're riding. We're all part of a brotherhood and sisterhood. Keep the rubber side down, shiny side up, and may the spokes be with you.